Hello and a warm welcome to Federal's special program, Capital Beat. After a long gap of 2 years almost, India Alliance leaders met in Delhi's Constitution Club today at around 12 o'clock. Some 23 political parties huddled together. They spoke about a number of things. Mallikarjun Kharge spoke about the much needed unity, then the examination mismanagement, the SIR, the voter list, all of this was discussed. And a few points which I would like to bring out is that there was no press conference as such, which everybody was expecting that there could have been a press conference, but there were a few points on which the consensus has been evolved. Now, let's play out those points on a plate, on a graphic plate, and which will give you an idea as to what are those points on which consensus has emerged. Now, the first point, leaders to write to the Chief Justice of India over SIR and vote loot allegations. This is the first point. Second, demand resignation of Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan. The third point, urge Prime Minister Modi to convene all-party meeting on economy, unemployment, price rise, and farm issues. Then the next point, yes, let's play out the second plate. Yeah. So India bloc to meet every 2 months. Next meeting is in August in Hyderabad. And during monsoon session, daily coordination meetings of floor leaders in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. So these are the points on which the consensus has evolved. And today, the noticeable absentees were, of course, the Aam Aadmi Party, which has already distanced itself, DMK, which was part of the India Alliance, but after the Tamil Nadu elections and how Congress severed its ties with DMK, of course, now they are also not part of the India Alliance. So, India Alliance, the original India Alliance, which was formed, how is the India Alliance 2.0 going to be different from the one which we saw, which was active till 2024 elections? Will there be some new energy, or will it be just the usual sort of meetings? How different are the decisions which are now taken as far as these 5 points which we showed it to you? Does this new grouping enthuse energy? And can it really counter this mighty force of the BJP and slash NDA? Joining me this evening is Javed Ansari, senior journalist and political commentator. Thank you so much for joining. We have Puneet Nicholas Yadav, political editor with TheFederal. Thank you so much, Puneet. And Puneet was there present at the Constitution Club for the meeting. Puneet, uh, how how new would you say this India Alliance Part 2, that is 2.0? Did you see anything which was different from what we had seen earlier, except, of course, the noticeable absentees with DMK and Aam Aadmi Party not being there?
Yeah, well, Nilu, it would be incorrect to actually say that this is a India Alliance 2.0 or something, because yes, it's a more trimmed down version because of the absence of the DMK. I wouldn't really count the AAP in at the moment, because the AAP had severed its ties immediately after the 2024 Lok Sabha elections and made it very clear that we were together only for the Lok Sabha elections. And so, subsequently, the Aam Aadmi Party has always made it very clear that there is no AAP presence in the India bloc as such. The DMK, again, yes, they haven't attended the meeting today, but there it's a bit of a bit uncertain on the role that they're going to play, because whether they have decided to completely exit the India bloc or simply not attend meetings where they'll have to share stage with the Congress. So there's a difference in that. If ultimately in Parliament the DMK decides to keep its anti-BJP stance intact, if it keeps voting against the BJP on crucial legislation, then it doesn't really make a major difference to the India bloc, at least within Parliament in that sense.
Right.
So
So you still feel, Puneet, you still feel the possibility of DMK coming around India Alliance, and they might join India Alliance.
No, it's not about joining or exiting. I'm telling you that as of now, they have not said that we are, supporting the NDA or we are with the BJP. They have
Right.
said that we continue to oppose everything that the BJP government, stands for. So whether they're within the India bloc or outside of it, policy wise, politics wise, their stand continues to be aligned with what you're calling the India bloc. So I wouldn't, in that sense, say that they're completely out. Yes, they have problems with the Congress, which is very obvious, which they have been saying on a daily basis since the 4th of May. And they've made it very clear that they don't want to share any stage with a Congress leader. That is their position. But they've also said that when it comes to standing against the BJP, we are with any political force that is combating the BJP. Now, whether that is mere posturing or that changes with time, whether they start doing what the BJD or the YSRCP used to do at one point in time of abstaining, at crucial moments in during voting in Parliament on important bills, or voting in favor with the government. Now that we'll have to wait and see. But today is not the day when you can make that prediction. But I mean, having said that, as far as today's meeting is concerned, this was a very crucial meeting because over the last several months, and particularly in the past 1 month, you've seen a lot of bad blood among the allies. So, Rahul's comments on Pinarayi Vijayan, Mr. Kharge's comments on Pinarayi Vijayan, all of that, then the raids happening at Mr. Vijayan's place, and the way the CPM said that, the way the Congress has been making statements against Mr. Vijayan, it almost shows that the Congress wants these excesses by central agencies to continue. It's justifying what the India bloc had actually been criticizing all this time. So that was there. The Trinamool Congress's own implosion, the attacks that the Trinamool made in the past on the Congress, what the Congress said about Trinamool, all of that was there. So there was a lot of pent up, this kind of an anger that was to be, resolved at this meeting today. Since, the meeting ended just about an hour back, one hasn't had the time to actually reach out to leaders and see that beyond the statements made by Mr. Kharge at that presser, what exactly transpired at the meeting. All I'm told is that Mr. John Britas, who did represent, the CPM, he did raise this issue of the Congress attacking the CPM, and of not just second rung leaders, but Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge, Mr. Rahul Gandhi, Priyanka Gandhi, all of them making direct and unsubstantiated attacks at Mr. Vijayan and the left of being in cahoots with the BJP. He did raise that in the meeting. Prior to that, Mr. M.A. Baby, who's the General Secretary of the CPM, has already written a letter slamming the Congress, and that letter was sent to Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge. So all of that has happened. Now, at the meeting, how much of this was really discussed? Were there any kind of assurances given among allies of, not doing this kind of, in not indulging in this kind of a public spectacle of one ally making allegations against the other? All that we'll have to wait and find out a little more. But the 5 points that Mr. Kharge announced, he of course did not take any questions. The 5 points are the ones that we've had on the slide, which you read out earlier.
Right. But Puneet, the pointers which we just read out, like say, for example, writing a letter to CJI over SIR and vote loop, now that also the opposition has been speaking about it. As far as demanding the resignation of Dharmendra Pradhan is concerned, that also consistently Rahul Gandhi and several leaders from the opposition have already said that. Then an all-party meeting on economy, unemployment, price rise, and farm issues, that also has been repeated many, many times. So, do you think that the parties stopped short of coming out with something concrete today, because people were expecting that if India Alliance leaders are meeting after 2 years, at least some basic homework would have been done earlier to at least show some hope that India Alliance now, the regrouping again, once again, will bring better chances, will bring more hope that they are ready to contest the 2029, though that election is quite far off. But these pointers which on which the consensus has been evolved, those are not anything new, except for that one point, of course, that every 2 months they'll have a meeting. So do you think that India bloc stopped short of, again, infusing that energy? I still remember the first meeting which India bloc had in Bangalore, where this name of India came out. What an energy at that point of time was there. But the entire grouping looked very lackluster today. Yes, Puneet.
Yeah, well, you see, Neil, the thing is, I don't really see what else the India bloc at this point in time. Yes, it could have uh, uh, come out with in terms of, you know, what the meeting has achieved. Because the situation, what you are comparing this current meeting to, is a meeting that happened when the India bloc was still taking shape. The Lok Sabha elections were just round the corner. Right now,
Yes.
of course, their morale is down. The recent elections uh, have kind of come as a major blow, because you've seen the DMK walkout, you've seen the Trinamool defeated, humbled, and now stung by the whole thing of a split in the party. Now, given that situation, and then as I was explaining earlier, the attacks and counterattacks among the allies. So, what was needed right now was for the parties to come together, resolve these differences that have cropped up, and then find a way forward. So they have said that 2 months on, they will meet again, and then this meeting will happen every 2 months. One of the allegations leveled against or criticisms of the alliance has been that there is no coordination. They don't know, which party is going to do what and all of that. For that, this thing of having a meeting every 2 months was important. So that is there. Uh, what happened exactly, what discussions took place during the course of the meeting, naturally, aside from things on which you have consensus, the others were not going to be spoken about at a press conference,
Right.
and which is why I think no questions were taken also.
Right.
Whether this now translates into a more and which is expected of the alliance right now, of a more sustained campaign. How do you ensure not just electorally but in terms of narrative on the ground, or at the grassroots, how do you move forward unitedly? All those things we'll have to wait and see what they come up with.
Right. Right, but let me show you a few posters which were put in and around Delhi and the areas near the Constitution Club, and those posters were put somewhere around midnight. What we are told, and look at this poster. It says, "लोग कहते हैं कि हम कांग्रेस को कमजोर कर रहे हैं, भला मैं कांग्रेस को क्यों कमजोर करूंगा? राहुल गांधी खुद ही अकेले हैं, इस काम को बहुत अच्छे से कर रहे हैं." And then the tagline at the bottom says, इंडिया अलायंस वाले जो आपस में लड़ रहे हैं वो साथ क्या आएंगे, which means that the parties themselves are fighting amongst themselves, so how can they come together? And they have given various examples. You saw the Arvind Kejriwal poster, look at this Sharad Pawar poster. It says Rahul Gandhi में consistency की कमी है, Rahul Gandhi lacks consistency. And then again the same tagline in the poster at the bottom, इंडिया अलायंस वाले जो आपस में लड़ रहे हैं वो साथ क्या लड़ेंगे. Let me show you another picture. There are 3-4 hoardings which are quite viral on the social media. Let's put out the third picture. I think there were 4. uh, yes, now this is Pinarayi Vijayan. He says राहुल गांधी एक राष्ट्रीय स्तर के नेता हैं, लेकिन फिर भी उनमें इतनी भी समझ नहीं है कि जितनी कांग्रेस में एक आम स्थानीय कार्यकर्ता में होती है. So which means that the Congress workers are more sensible than Rahul Gandhi. This is what Pinarayi Vijayan had said, and that is what the hoarding has come up all about with the same tagline. I won't repeat. Let's put out the fourth one, I guess. There's another poster, and then I'll come to Javed. Yes, this is Mamta Banerjee's poster. कांग्रेस अपनी विश्वसनीयता खो रही है, हम कांग्रेस पर निर्भर नहीं कर सकते, which means that Congress is losing its credibility. And how can we depend or rely on Congress? That's what Mamata Banerjee said, and that again has come up as a hoarding with the same tagline that if India Alliance partners are fighting amongst themselves, then how can it be a unified grouping? Now, many people say that it was BJP who might have come up with these hoardings. Some people are saying on the social media that it was DMK which got these hoardings done. Javed, what is the sense you get? And have you ever seen things like this, that the opposition grouping has a meeting and the ruling party, or I don't know who has put up those hoardings, but hoardings like these, have you ever seen it? You've been covering politics for decades and decades. Uh, have you ever come across hoardings like these on a day when opposition partners meet?
Why are we making such a big deal about these hoardings? You don't have to be an Einstein to guess or to make out who's put up this. It can't be people who are enamored of the India alliance. It can either be the BJP or perhaps the Aam Aadmi Party. The Aam Aadmi Party already has a lot to worry on its own plate. So therefore, it can only be the BJP is the only one with this kind of wherewithal and the organizational ability plus the resources. And how much of a difference does this make? The larger point is that for the India Alliance, they had to demonstrate their existence, their presence, which they have done. They had to demonstrate that they haven't withered away in the wake of desertions, in the wake of splits, in the wake of these string of defeats. And now the larger challenge going forward is to be able to demonstrate their viability. That will come with consistency. That will come if you are able to present a alternate vision, a different kind of governance model. If that they can agree on, if that they can do it, there are five Congress governments. They can get their alliance partner. I'm not surprised. I mean, I won't break into a sweat over the fact that the Tamil Nadu government at the present hasn't joined. It's a matter of time. They will probably join. But before that, the India alliance needs to get its act together, needs to shore up its flanks, and stop this public spat. The easiest bit of journalism, the easiest kind of analysis, lazy analysis is to blame everything on the Congress party. The fact is that what happened in Bengal, how is the Congress party? The Congress is not even a peripheral force in Bengal.
Yeah.
It hasn't been so since the time I was in school, and now I'm, in the twilight of my life. So I mean, what are we talking about? The fact that the Congress party couldn't, that the India alliance didn't have a seamless alliance in Bihar. Where does the fault lie? Who's the one who delayed these things? Yes, the Congress. The problem is that every party says that we must all band together and we must make whatever sacrifice that is needed to take on the BJP. But when they say this, they mean apart from themselves, everybody else should sacrifice. They're all guilty. Nobody wants to concede an inch in their areas. The Congress doesn't want to concede an inch of space to the regional parties in the states where it is strong, and the same is true of the regional parties. Now the biggest test will come. It's right at our doorstep in Uttar Pradesh. The Congress is asking for a large number of seats, 120 seats to begin with. Even if they scale it down, the thing is, and everybody knows that the Congress is this is way above. They're punching way above their weight. The problem is, and there are some inherent contradictions. The Congress has to expand. These regional parties have encroached on what used to be uh, Congress space, and now the Congress, if Congress is to expand, the Congress has to win back a lot of this. Their vote banks are similar, so then there is a clash on that. So it requires a tremendous amount of sagacity, a large amount of sagacity, an equal amount of political management to be able to bring all this together. Right now, that's not happening. I I will not lose much sleep over today's meeting that this guy didn't come, that guy didn't come, all these posters. The fact is that they met. Now they need to be able to establish the viability. This hereon lies the bigger challenge, you know, because I got the distinct impression after Bihar and after Bengal and after Tamil Nadu that the India alliance, that Rahul Gandhi had somewhat drifted. It didn't require the kind of mind space which India alliance usually used to do, because he felt when everybody else is is doing its own, why should it just be the Congress party? So now they all need to sit together, because they need to realize, and you don't have to be a political Einstein to realize this, that none of them alone can take on the BJP. सबका दिमाग दुरुस्त हो गया after this Bengal election. I think they would have read the writing on the wall. Even the Trinamool Congress, which just all that arrogance and all will not do. Now you need each other. The only chance, and I'm saying chance, the only chance they have of making a match of it against the NDA is if they all come together and if there is one opposition candidate against the NDA candidate. If that doesn't happen, if they are unwilling or unable to do that, then they can just about forget about it. It's as simple as that. To my mind, I'm absolutely clear where things stand.
But Javed, as and when these groupings become more coherent, like what Puneet said, that they decided every 2 months to meet, what would you think? How would BJP plan its moves? Now, look at what has happened in Bengal. TMC is split wide open now. Similar dangers are there now in UP as well. What if BJP tries to do a similar thing with Akhilesh's party? How can
I'm
India
sure.
now
I'm
counter these
sure they will
challenges?
try and do something similar, but it's not easy. Akhilesh's party cannot be, won't give a walkover. They are pretty organized. They've got boots on the ground. They've got an organization right to the booth level, and they're pretty active. They are already in election mode. What the India Alliance can do is, it should prevent hemorrhaging, internal hemorrhaging, internal bickering. That if the Congress and BSP start taking pot shots at either, they need to put up a united front. What kind of a message will it send? Akhilesh has pitched his entire camp around PDA. But if the Congress walks out, then Congress is also, and for Congress leaders to be knocking on Mayawati's door and to be turned away, this is very bad optics and extremely poor politics. Big, I don't know who advised them and why they did that. Mayawati will never ally with the Congress party for the simple reason that it believes that if it allies with the Congress, all the Dalits will find a way of going back to the Congress and then never come back. And this is
Right.
irrespective of the great equation that Mrs. Gandhi shares with Mayawati or that Priyanka shares with Mayawati. It's not about personal equations, it's about political interest. The
Right.
BJP will do everything to try and create further inroads to try and divide the India alliance. They'll try and woo the DMK after a matter of time. They'll do these things. They've already divided the Trinamool Congress. They've divided Shiv Sena. They've split Sharad Pawar's party. So they'll continue to do all that. It's only a united India alliance can face this. If you're fighting each other rather than fighting the main enemy, then you can bid goodbye to any hopes that you may have of 2029.
No, the very fact that they all met together, and I'm sure, like Malikarjun Kharge also said, that there is a need for unity. But how that unity will shape up, we do not know. The only hope is that every 2 months they will meet. But Puneet, coming to you, that these
What
every 2 months. Yes, yes, Javed, you wanted to say something?
and the bigger challenge, it's not just comes from the BJP. It also comes from the phenomenon called cockroach party. We don't know whether it's an organic eruption or it's a creation of the backroom boys. We don't know. But what we do know is that there is tremendous angst, misgiving amongst the youth of this country, and they are if this is genuine and organic, then it showed that there is tremendous angst amongst the youth, and the youth are not going to establish political opposition parties, or they want something different. So that also is not exactly a vote of confidence in the existing opposition in the country.
Right. But coming back to the exam mismanagement, Puneet, this was also one issue which was widely discussed in the India Alliance meeting. Uh, wouldn't it have been proper if the India Alliance partners would have organized some sort of a joint rally or something? Because this issue is quite current. People are still discussing about it, and with the onset of a party like Cockroach Janta Party, don't you think that waiting for 2 months would be a little late? Because after 2 months, there'll be one meeting in Hyderabad, and then probably some contour would be visible. But during these 2 months, what are the parties going to plan when you have so many issues like this with the oil prices hitting the roof, gas prices there, examination crisis? Don't you think that there should have been something which should have been planned much earlier?
But you see, Neelu, that is one of the things, when they say that unitedly these parties are going to demand for Dharmendra Pradhan's resignation. Now, that's of course one aspect of it. Whether it is aggressive enough or not is a different matter. But that is linked to the CBSE NEET issue. It's not like they're just asking for Mr. Pradhan's resignation just for the heck of it. It's because of what has happened with the NEET and CBSE and all of that. With examinations, paper leak, and things like that. Now, the other aspect of what they've been doing on the ground, you know, I'll add to what Javed was just saying with regard to the Cockroach Party. Now, the Cockroach Party held a protest exactly on the same issue, right? On Dharmendra Pradhan and NEET and paper leaks, etc. And for days, the amount of newsprint and showtime, airtime that's been spent on, what is the Cockroach Janta Party going to do when they've arrived, what is happening, how the protest is happening. In this period, most of these political parties which are formed, part of the India Alliance, they have held various protests. The Congress Party has held close to 50 protests in the last 20 days. Even yesterday, there was a protest happening in Kurukshetra where a whole range of Congress leaders were present. You must have perhaps seen those visuals of water cannons being used on Dipinder Hooda, targeted at Dipinder Hooda. Similarly, in Delhi, there were protests by the Youth Congress, by the NSUI. There were protests in various parts of Maharashtra, protests in Rajasthan. Multiple, I'm saying close to 50 protests in the last 20, 25 odd days. How many of those protests have, you and I discussed here on Federal, or any of the media, mainstream media, how many of those protests have been shown or covered or, whatever. So to say that these parties are not doing anything at all on this issue and they're not showing the aggression that is required is also wrong. It's just because these are protests that are not given any value in terms of media discussions, media space. But a Cockroach Janta Party, of course, a novel idea and all of that, suddenly gets the kind of traction that otherwise, perhaps should have been reserved for political parties. So, now, whether the India bloc sticks to just this demand of Mr. Dharmendra Pradhan's resignation, or they come up with some kind of a joint strategy in terms of protesting on this issue, that we'll have to wait and see. We can't really say that it's only going to happen after 2 months. 2 months later is when the India bloc's next meeting will take place. But there's no saying as of now whether, in this period of 2 months, they might come up with something, something else in terms of a campaign or a rally or a protest. Just because they've not announced it today doesn't mean that the issue wasn't discussed at all. If it wasn't discussed, then this issue of demanding the resignation of Dharmendra Pradhan wouldn't have, been part of those 5 points, right?
Right. All right. So I'll take the concluding comments from Javed. So, what would you really say to this regrouping of India alliance? 2029, of course, is quite far off, but does it offer hope for the opposition?
Look, if they really believe in this and if they want to make this meaningful, then they need to come up with an alternative vision. And they need, a series of action. You need joint programs, joint rallies. They need to share a common platform in every state. Wherever there is a burning issue, there should be an India rally, India Alliance rally. Pool your resources. There need to be some mass action because seat adjustment alone will now not do the trick. Elections have gone beyond that. You need to be able to convince people of your viability, and you can only do it over a period of time. So 2 years, 2.5 years for the next Lok Sabha elections, use that period. Come up with a series of issues. Come up with an alternate vision. Like look, we will do this differently. This is what we are. Campaign on that basis. Apart from shoring up your social alliances,
Right.
sure, and adding some organizational heft to this. Then, because otherwise, people will election eve coming together and all will not matter. And they
Absolutely.
need to be able, at least the leaders must first, there has to be an agreement in principle that it will be 1-to-1. And then 6 months before the elections, you finish this bloody business of seat adjustment.
Right.
I mean, I really don't know. They just don't get it. Election after election, after all that the BJP is doing to them, they just don't get it, it seems. I,
So let's hope
that just
they
beats
learn
me.
their yeah. So let's hope they learn their lessons, and let's see what happens after 2 months when they regroup once again in Hyderabad. We'll have to end it here. Thank you so much, Javed. Puneet, thank you very much for joining.